to all my people who still watch wrestling. Here we are with episode 6 of Yes, We Still Watch Wrestling. I'm Steve Dent. My brother is back. My
I'm
tag team
back.
partner, Pause, is back. My
I'm
dog is
back.
back.
I'm
We
back for the hot tag. I'm off of IR a little bit. I'm not off of IR. I'm just working through the pain. People, what's good? It's your boy Shaq. How you been? How you doing out there?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So we here with episode 6, man. As always, man. In the world of wrestling, we got a lot to talk about, especially these days, because it's a lot going on, man. So we're gonna get right into it, man. But first, I wanted to ask you something because you haven't been here the past couple episodes. Um, so specifically, there's a question I have for you in regards to a previous topic that I want to
All
get
right.
your take on real quick, right out the gate. And
Yes, sir.
then, but first, before we even do that, I'm gonna ask you: is there anything that's been addressed in the past couple episodes that you specifically want to talk about? You specifically have an input on?
Not specifically. I want to say thank you, bro, for holding it down while I was out. You
Yeah,
were doing an excellent job, with the pod, with the videos, with the editing. You were a one-man wrecking crew out there. So shout out and salute to you, brother.
appreciate you, brother.
But
Appreciate
nah,
you.
not specifically. We'll do it like this. What do you think? You feel I have an inquiry about or issue with?
Oh, I know it's something you got an issue with for sure, and I want to get your take on it now.
How about you lead into this? How about you lead the subject?
Bleacher Report's top 50.
You know,
I know you got an issue with it because so we haven't specifically announced this yet. I think I said it briefly in one of my videos, and Shaq has said it briefly in one of his, but we haven't officially like declared it. So you know how people, so once you get to know somebody, you got to declare like who's your football team, who's your sports
of
teams, and
course,
stuff like
of
that.
course.
We haven't officially declared who our goat is. So for those of you who don't know, my goat is the Undertaker. I think he's the greatest wrestler of
And
all time.
my goat and the correct answer is HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, aka Mr. WrestleMania, aka the first Triple Crown winner, aka leader of DX. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that he is.
Hey, it's a
So
lot of
yeah,
things
that's
that the Undertaker is too, man. But I personally don't have a problem. Undertaker's my personal goat. But I don't. As long as they went into it's like football with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady when it comes to quarterback, and it's like basketball for me
right,
anyway. I know some people is different, but for me anyway, when it comes to LeBron James and Michael Jordan, they
right,
got to
right,
be
right,
1 and 2 in my book. That's
right.
just me personally. But but your man, your man was at 8. Now Taker, even though I don't agree, at least he made the top 5. Bleacher Report is saying your man ain't even top 5.
I, I need to know like what was because the whole thing about the list, right? Sure,
Right,
and it's no disrespect to Bret Hart, the excellence of execution, not like none at all. One of, if not the best technical wrestlers of all time.
right.
How is he number one? And I'm not even saying that Sean deserves to be number one because he's not. If you want to be honest, if I'm being biased, I will put him at one. But no, I wouldn't. If anybody deserves to be number one, it was Stone Cold. I would put Stone Cold at one, right? If I'm being realistic and not being biased and not fanning out.
If
We
if I
talked about the
remember
best
everything
one.
correctly, historical significance was a factor. Championship run was a factor, and like not only just championships, but how long was your run in general? Like, were you just a flash in the pan? How long was your run? Um, Wrestling ability, promos, um, and there was something else. Oh, and as far as being a needle mover, like were you a staple in pay per views? Were you a main attraction? Stuff like that. Those were kind of like the main factors, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember correctly, I might be forgetting one, but I know those 5 I just named were the main factors for sure.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So, but like, I don't understand it because he had what a 2 year run with the title,
yeah,
two road title in the '90s, and then he lost it. And then, but my whole thing, he was the main event in the worst WrestleMania of all time,
right,
and half the time he was there, Hogan was there, so he really wasn't the man.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Like, sure, the '80s, with the Hart Foundation, and then him coming up. Sure, he was a part of one of my personal favorite angles with Team Canada versus Austin.
Yeah.
Like, so I get it. Not Team Canada, the Hart Foundation, because Team Canada was TNA. The Hart Foundation versus Austin when they had that pay-per-view in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, one of the wildest heats I've ever seen in my life. Steve Austin got booed from the minute he stepped off the airplane till he came out into the arena. Like, and
Yeah.
he and the
Yeah.
rest of the like, beautiful work, but I just don't understand how
I
he's
know
number one.
I know Bret Hart was beloved by many, including myself.
Yeah,
Um
Brett, when you finally will listen to us, I love you, Brett. Like, you are the man, right?
yeah, we
I
are.
just don't to be WWE superstar number one of all time. I don't understand how.
Yeah, I Stone Cold, I agree with you. I thought Stone Cold was for sure gonna be number one. When I saw
If
the
not Stone
list.
Cold, I thought they was gonna have Hogan at one.
I'm glad they didn't. I would have been irate. They had Hogan at 10. I mean, you
For
know,
what he did for wrestling and
yeah,
WWE/F, without a doubt, he deserves to be top five, if not top 10. Yeah,
absolutely. Cause
no, yeah, no doubt about that.
he
Couldn't
launched
wrestle worth
W.
a damn,
He
but
actually, if be real, like he launched two promotions. Like WCW was already doing their thing, but they weren't about to put WWE out of business until Hulk Hogan made that transition and they created NWO. So
very true,
Hulk Hogan deserves a lot of credit, and
very true.
I think with Hulk Hogan, the reason why I always loved him as Hollywood Hulk Hogan is because, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, what I've always said, and the reason why I hope Roman Reigns doesn't become a good guy, when you're a good guy, right? When you're a face, you kind of expected to not only electrify the crowd with promos, but in ring wrestling as well. Like, you
Right,
can't really be a born in ring wrestler as a face. Whereas as a heel, it makes sense for you to have that pause, that Punisher style, like that bruiser style, where you just beating people up all the time. You're not
right,
really doing a lot of fancy moves and stuff like that. So his wrestling style worked with him as a heel, but not necessarily as a face as you got older. Of course, as kids, we loved it, but once we got older, like one of my favorite match all time before I got to college was Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 6. That's why it's in my WrestleMania Mount Rushmore, because of nostalgia for me. Like, that was absolutely
right.
my favorite match. But as an adult, I remember trying to watch that match again in college, and it was like, yo, this is trash. You know what I'm
No,
saying? So,
yeah,
so yeah, man. But I'm with you. You saw my grievances. I'm with you. I didn't. I'm cool. I was cool with Bret Hart probably being top five, but not ahead of Undertaker, not ahead of Shawn Michaels, not ahead of Stone Cold. And me personally, I don't feel like he's ahead of John Cena. That's just me, as far as his WWE run.
no,
If that's your
no,
factors, if that's your factor, now if there were different factors, then maybe. But if that's your factors, I personally wouldn't have him ahead of John Cena. Maybe
I
not
won't.
even Triple H.
No,
Yeah, so it's a questionable, but yeah, that's what's up, bro. But let's get into our first topic of the night, man. So, being as though this is Yes We Still Watch Wrestling, being as though we're black men, one of the very few black men who's on a network talking wrestling, bravely and boldly, I might
and
add,
making it look cool too.
and making
Yeah,
it look cool.
it look cool.
We gotta open up the show talking about Swerve Strickland.
Whose house?
Swerve's house. We got to talk about Swerve, man. Swerve
Hey,
finally did it.
hey,
He finally beat Samoa Joe at AEW Dynasty.
word.
It was a great match.
Great match.
Great match for sure. And um, I thought there was a possibility that he wouldn't win. But when he came out in the Black Panther clothes, I said, "Oh nah, he winning tonight. He winning tonight. He can't. You can't lose coming out in the Black Panther clothes, man.
Yeah,
You can't."
I had no doubt he was going to win that match. It wasn't. It was time. It was the right thing. Not even the right thing to do. Like, it made sense from a storyline perspective for him to win right there. Like, there was no reason for him not to win, to build him up like that for him not to win right there. I
It
didn't doubt at all he was going to win.
it made sense. It was a special moment. People forget he was released by WWE before he even got the call up to NXT. You can make the argument now, like we're gonna eventually do a list of probably like the top. I don't even think we do 5, unfortunately, because of the Vince McMahon era, but probably like the top 10 NXT call ups that WWE fumbled. He didn't even make it to NXT. He got cut. I mean,
He's
the
still call up.
WWE. He got cut while he was in NXT as part of Hit Row. Um, and what I'm saying, was able to revamp his career and get to this point. So, what in your mind, right? Um, how do you first? Let me ask you a 2-part question. How do
Right.
you picture his title run going, and how would you like to see? What would you like to see specifically in his title run?
So I'm glad you asked that. And the reason why I'm nervous about this title run, right? Not about his athletic ability or his prowess in the ring.
Right.
They got that London show coming up very soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we were smart, we know what the main event is going to be. Swerve
Him
versus
versus
Osprey.
Hangman, right?
No, versus Swerve versus Osprey. That has to be the main event.
You think they put Osprey after him this early?
Yeah. Yeah. Swerve versus
So you
Osprey
got
and
Osprey losing to Rod Strickland. I'm not Rod
Rod,
Strickland. I'm sorry.
Rod,
What's my man name?
Roddy Strong.
Roddy Strong. You got him losing to Roddy Strong?
Who's that? Swerve?
No. So it coming up, I forget. I can't remember if it's at the next pay per view at Double or Nothing, or if it's on the AEW Dynamite show. But coming up, um, dang, you just said his name. What's his name again?
Roderick Strong?
Roger Strong. My bad, Roddy, man. My bad having a brain fart. But Roddy Strong battles Osprey for the Intercontinental Championship. Not the Intercontinental, but what they call it? The Continental Championship?
The Continental
Yeah, the
Championship?
Continental Championship. They go 1-on-1 for that. So you got Roddy Strong beating Osprey?
I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it. It could be DQ finish,
Yeah.
count.
Yeah.
It may not be a clean win, but I don't see a world where it's not Osprey versus Swerve in London. I don't
Mm.
know. They wouldn't put that as the main event. Well, not the main event, but top of the card because that Osprey is from there. Is from the UK, so
Mm.
I don't see, and they might put him over there. That's why I'm afraid of the title run being short.
Mm. Mm. We gonna see a lot because if Osprey beats Roddy Strong, I don't see that happening. Um,
You could also do title versus title.
That's true too. I thought you was gonna say Hangman because I don't feel like that story is finished.
It's not finished, but there's also money to be made.
Do you think Osprey has to fight Swerve in London though?
He doesn't have to, right? The key word is he have to. No, he doesn't have to. But I'm thinking it as the money aspect of they're gonna sell out anyway. But what you want to garner the most interest, that match right there.
All right, so it's not that I disagree with you. I think you make a valid point. Here's where I was going with it. I wouldn't be disappointed if Daniel Bryan, I mean not Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson cost him this match, and we see Bryan Danielson versus Osprey 2 in London. The rating that Dave Metzler gave that AEW Dynasty.
It's
And
not
we'll,
like
matter of fact, you know what? Cause that's a separate topic that I got later. Unless you want to go into it now. Nah, we can finish talking about Swerve and go into that later. Cause I have that match specifically as a separate topic, so we can go into that later. But that's what I had happening with Osprey. But I know for me with Swerve, well, obviously, this I hate to say this, but even if it's booked bad, his title run is gonna be better than probably any WWE black champion that's ever had a title outside of maybe Bobby Lashley. Bobby
yeah, just
Lashley had a decent run, but
Brock Lesnar's no longer wrestling.
yeah, we not gonna see him get beat in 8 seconds and stuff like that. If he loses, it would be a great match, a great quality match. Like we don't have to worry about that. I just hope that he honestly, and this goes into the next topic, but we'll kind of save it. I want him to have a run that is full of like great the classic matches, like a memorable run for the matches. Because if anything, AEW is more recognized for its matches than the storylines, right? Not saying that they
True.
have poor storylines or anything like that, but they're more known for the quality of matches that they've been putting on.
True.
So I want him to have a run like that and have meaningful, saying storylines and stuff like that, meaningful rivals. Um, and things of that nature. Interesting stuff, and I think he's creative enough where they'll give him a decent run. So I that's the only thing I want to see in this run. Like, give us like a memorable title run. I feel like everybody that they've put the belt on has had a good run. The
Mhm.
belt hasn't been relinquished off them quickly. They've had at least 6 months to do their thing. Um, Everybody that I know has had runs with great matches. Like when you think about Hangman's run, Kenny Omega's run, John Moxley's run, Samoa Joe's run, MJF's run. All of them, they had great title matches in the midst of even Chris Jericho when he had initially won it. So hopefully he just continues that trend, um, and we don't get a flash in the pan. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree.
So we'll see. But I say that to say, man, congratulations to Swerve, man. It was dope seeing you,
Word. Right.
actually win that title, man. Seeing where you've come, and creating history, man. Being the first black AEW champion. When you think about it, it's not. I can't, and I've been thinking about this. I can't think of one other singles AEW star that's black that's on track like he is to eventually become a AEW champion. I can't see it. Maybe mid card, but not AEW title. So I don't think we're gonna see another one for a while after he loses. So hopefully he has a meaningful title run. But it goes into the second title run I wanted to talk about. And I'm kind of hoping for the same thing, but we different. We dealing with a different machine here. All right. So I was watching Visual Talks. Shout out to bro, and he was doing his segment called Coffee and Hot Takes, and there was
Right.
a hot
Very,
take.
very dope segment, by the way, too.
Very
Very dope.
dope
Very
segment,
creative. Very
man.
dope segment.
Very dope segment, man. And his first hot take on his last video was a tweet from someone saying WWE doesn't know what they're doing with Cody Rhodes. So let's talk about that real quick. As far as Cody is concerned, I will say this is very early. WrestleMania
Hmm.
just ended not too long ago. His run is just beginning. He just started this rivalry with AJ Styles as of Friday, so it's early. It's early, but same question for him. What do? But it's same question, but it may not be the same answer because once again we're working with a different machine here. Different era. We're in a new era, but it's still a different machine in WWE than it is at AEW. So kind of the same two-part question. How do you see this going? And what do you hope to see as far as this run with Cody Rhodes?
I'm not saying they don't know what to do with his run, but the Cody fighting for the title or Cody trying to come up, I feel is the better story than Cody with the title. Cody is like the prototypical baby face, somebody that you can get behind, the underdog, the long journey, the cut by WWE, went on the indies to cut his teeth, to perfect his character, his story, went all around the world, started AEW. He didn't even win a title in his own company. See what I'm saying? And then to come back to WWE to fight for his father's legacy, the story, the being denied at Mania. So the story is there, the underdog story is there. I don't know if that's going to translate well into him being champion because now you done cry. You ain't nothing else to cry about, Cody. You know what I'm saying? You all cried out. We don't want to see you cry no more.
Yeah,
Now you gotta defend.
yeah.
I feel he's always better with the chase. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's better to chase than he is with the title.
Mm.
We'll see. And then it's real early. He came right out of Mania, so there is no ready-made rivalries. Some you got to build. You got to build. You got to write. So we got to see where they go. Now, if it comes down time to like July, August, and still ain't nothing cooking, we gonna have to have answers. We gonna have to have some questions, some talks. But as of right now, I'm not worried right now.
So here's what I say. I think my answer is kind of the same as Swerve's. I think, but it's different. Like that's why I said is we working with a different animal because in AEW once again like they're more known for the quality of matches that they consistently put out, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
WWE, even though under Triple H, they've been more focused on the quality of matches in some instances. And we'll talk about another match that may have been hampered by that later on, but they have been more focused on the quality of matches lately, but at the same time, WWE still has the production aspect and still heavily focuses on storylines as well. That's a major component as far as WWE. So I
Mm-hmm.
would love it because what people underestimate about Kofi's run, unfortunately, we forget that Kofi actually has some good to great matches in his run because of how his run ended. But that's what we need from Cody. We need unforgettable matches from Cody. I'm not saying every match got to be a 5-star classic, but there has to be matches that you specifically remember, and then there has to be moments created within that. What made and I saw an old Roman Reigns clip, and it said, and he was talking about that. It was matter of fact, it was that interview he did with old boy. And forgive me for calling you old boy. I don't know your name off the top of my head right now, but there was an interview he did before WrestleMania 39, and he was like, people think they know what they want until, you know what I'm saying, you get that, and then all of a sudden you start to miss what happened. And then what he's essentially saying is that we not only did I have a memorable run, not only did I have great matches, but I have memorable moments that you won't forget. When Sami Zayn made them break character, you know what I'm saying? The promo he did walking out after he knocked out the Miz off the top of his head, stuff like that. He had memorable moments, and that's what we need from Cody. Now, like you said, it's hard to create that when you ain't got nothing else to cry about no more because his persona is better chasing. So maybe, just maybe, Cody, if he can't deliver the matches, he might have to create a rivalry by losing the belt and regaining it back. He might
I,
have
I don't
to.
I don't I don't think him being able to put on a quality match is the issue.
Yeah,
It's what's the story? Like what and when you're a champion, it's a little different because there's people gunning for you, so they have to have the reason for why
yeah.
they at you now.
And that's what I'm saying. If he lose intrigue, sometimes you create a rivalry with a loss. Not to say he can't get the title right back. There's nothing wrong with, in my opinion, in this situation,
Excuse
he
me.
loses a title at a pay-per-view and then gets it right back at SummerSlam. That creates a rivalry, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you lost, but it keeps it fresh, it keeps it interesting. That may have to happen, but we'll see. Like you said, the stories have to match, the quality of matches have to match. Um, I don't have when I say him put on the matches, talent is I'm not guessing talent. Just like honestly with AJ Styles run the champion, it wasn't the talent. Sometimes the quality of matches weren't always there. He had some great matches in that run. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't always that. So, and I think the stories with him were missing. So hopefully we get that with Cody. But like I said, it's early. It's very early.
Right.
So, real quick, have you looked at the backlash full card yet?
No, I haven't looked at the full card yet.
So I tell you what the full card is now. So the full card as of right now, a match may get added this week, but as of right now, we have a tag team match, the Bloodline, Solo and Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton and KO. We all know for the most part, that's gonna be a match won by Solo and Tama Tonga due to the interference of Jacob Fatu. We know that's coming. Um, Kabuki Warriors are defending the tag titles, the women's tag titles against Bianca Belair and Jade. Um, Women's championship match is a triple threat: Bailey versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Damian Priest is battling Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the main event is Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Well, the Universal Championship, I should say. They the six, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there's 5 matches. So they the 5 matches announced for right now. They might add one more. So when you hear that card, what you think? How you think Backlash is gonna go? You think it's gonna be a great show? Because last year's Backlash was a good show.
Average show, just the people. The average show, nothing. Nothing really stands out now. The Cody versus AJ match has
Yeah,
be
yeah,
the potential to be great. Um, and the triple threat women's match has the potential to be great.
yeah. That might be the match of the night.
That might be the match of the night, and it's almost like we know how this is gonna play out, but it's almost time to take the training wheels off of Jade now.
Yeah,
It's almost time.
I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen with Jade and
We
Bianca.
know somebody's gonna turn on somebody. We just don't know who's gonna turn on who.
Will it happen at Backlash though? I think they win the women's tag titles at Backlash
Yeah,
because the
yeah, I
women's
could.
tag titles is very stale right now.
And then when they lose the titles, that's going to determine it's going to happen because it's going to be one of their fault. Yeah, so
That's what I think is gonna happen. I think when they lose it, because right now to make the titles relevant, you put it on two superstars like Jade and Bianca, and then what I'm saying, you had them put on great matches, and like you said, eventually lose, and then go from there.
yeah, I just we just don't know who's going to turn on who yet.
Yeah. All right. So, couple things real quick. Jay Uso was on a podcast recently. And matter of fact, it was a UK podcast getting ready for Backlash. Matter of fact, it was the Bump UK. So he was asked by the interviewer. He said, "Hey, how did you feel about the match that you had with Jimmy?" And I don't know if you saw the clip, but he flat out was like, "Look, like I felt like it was a huge letdown." He said, "I felt
It
like a lot."
was.
He said, "I felt like a lot of people expected us to put on like this banger of a match. We didn't." Um, he said, "I'm still happy about the moment, but I feel like we did let people down." The interviewer asked him, so was there anything that played a role into that? And he was like, yeah, it was a time issue. He said that they found out moments before the match that they had to cut the time down on the match. He said it was a situation, and the interviewer asked, he's like, was it a situation you found out day of? He was like, oh yeah. He was like, this was like moments before the match. He was like, they came up to us and was like, hey, like, so and so went over their time.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we got to cut your time down and stuff like that. So now that you hear that part, how do you feel about the match? Now, I mean, granted, I think we both agree it was a letdown for sure.
Hmm.
But how do you feel about just hearing that part? Do you feel?
So it doesn't change. Why? Now there's a good thing that there's a reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
Be saying that there's a reason behind why the match like, but it don't change because the match happened the way it happened.
it
Match
did.
all the time, G.
Hey man, I just hope when Jimmy comes back, I hope they give them to a rematch on Raw or SmackDown for the main event, and just give them the time and let's see what happens. That way, it's not on a pay per view, so it's not huge expectations. It's on a Raw or SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's a dope main event for Raw or SmackDown, and give them the time and let's see what happens. If they produce like the same quality of match, then we know the time won't really the issue. But if they produce a banger, then now we know. You know what I'm saying? So I say it like that. You don't got to give them another match on a pay per view. Let it be on a Raw. Let it be on a SmackDown. With Jimmy's coming back, he's trying to regain the trust of his brother, and he like nah, like we need one more match. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of go out on some like Dusty Rhodes, Cody Rhodes type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where they battle it out. They have a brawl. They have a fight, but it's a quality match. And then maybe they, what I'm saying, through battle, maybe they make up after that. Who knows? So we'll see with that. Now, next thing I wanted to get into real quick before I get into last topic. A couple quick topics real quick. I'm afraid I'm gonna sound like a hater.
Well, you are, but so we can go ahead.
How am I a hater?
You just are. I don't know. I don't even know what you're about to say, but I
I'm
just know
not a
you.
hater. I'm not a
You
hater, man. If anything, you admit it. I'm the optimistic one. I'm the one that finds the light and the
You're
truth
the
and everything,
optimistic
right?
one about all your teams, about anything dealing with you.
All right, I'm gonna just say it, man. Um, the whole Jack Perry versus Tony Khan storyline.
Okay.
Did you really like that?
I don't have an issue with it. Like,
But
you
no,
know
no,
why
no,
I
no.
don't have
That's
an
not what
issue
I
with
asked. Did you like it?
what? I hated Tony selling because he realized like that he got punched in the stomach. They act like he got knocked out, or he got ball checked, and they act like he got knocked out, and they remember, oh, I got to sell.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's his first time taking a bump like that on TV, ain't it?
and he was like, oh, I got to sell. But yeah, like I always say, people always hate something. I think people just hate on AEW in general. Like to hate on AEW is a cool thing to do. Like it's just easy to hate on, like hating on Wale, Wale, without listening to his music. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just a cool thing to do. Well, anybody that knows rap, Wale can really rap, and why is he getting all this hate?
For sure.
I think people just hate on anything AEW does because it's sort of like the cool thing to do. But I believe Stone Cold did it to Vince. People attack authority figures get attacked in wrestling promotions. Like I gotta see where it goes.
I don't. I don't. I gotta
He's
disagree.
fully like if you remember. I don't know if you were watching AEW when he first tried to heel character out.
Uh,
Terrible, terrible. He terrible, horrible. Then, like I said, he left, went over to New Japan, and he perfected his craft, and now it works. And now he's cutting damn good heel promos. He's a jerk. Like you see what I'm saying? So like, give something a chance. Like I didn't hate it. I hated Tony selling.
but you was cool with Jack Perry turning heel.
He was already heel.
I mean, not turning heel, but like, all right. So, all right, I gotta disagree with you on one thing. I don't think people hate on AEW, man.
They do.
I personally don't hate on AEW. I watch
No,
AEW.
not you. Like if you look at like wrestling posts and stuff like that, I didn't say you don't. Like every time AEW has a show, it's people showing the crowd and like all the empty seats.
I know
Like
which
damn,
page you're talking about. There's one page particularly where he be showing the crowd. Anytime somebody from the AEW say something about WWE, he be on their case. I know who you talking about.
yeah, like it's just a thing to do, but I don't hate it. Like I'm a firm believer of let me see unless it's just outright egregious, just that was trash. I'll say something, but hey, let's see what happens. He's now with the elite or with the new elite. They're obviously setting up for when Kenny comes back
Yeah,
and whoever is going to be on Team Kenny's side.
which is Wednesday. He come back
He comes back Wednesday.
Wednesday in Winnipeg.
That's been confirmed.
Yeah, it's confirmed. They already put the flyer out.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There we go. So you see. So now it's going to start the program. With whoever Kenny's going to recruit. So let's see what happens, man.
So, all right. So my issues with AEW just be about mainly like the pay-per-views and how they handle that part. That'd be my main issue. Outside of that,
We don't know.
AEW is a neat,
We don't know the type of bag Bleacher Report gave them.
man. They need to.
It don't make sense to us.
The Zone just partner. Who the Zone just partner with? The
They
Zone just
partnered with
partner with somebody. Was
they
it Matt's? I
who?
can't remember. But the Zone just partnered with somebody. They need to partner with somebody who has.
Listen, we don't know. We don't know what that check was like, brother.
Man,
We don't know.
I don't, man, is that contract been like 4 years, 5 years old now? They need to get out of that.
Look, all right. So that's the check, right? That's the main reason why WWE still has them super shows over there in with the Saudis.
Or
That
either,
that
or
bag,
either, or either
that
Bleacher
bag.
Report, or maybe the owners need to be on Bleacher Report to do that because I mean it is their app. So, but it needs to be on a common streaming network. You know what I'm saying? It could be on two. Matter of fact, that's who they partner with. I think they partner with the Zone partner with Tubi.
They did.
Tubi is on every
We
on the
don't, you,
PlayStation. Is on,
that we all I'm saying is we don't know. You just don't like the Bleacher Report thing. I don't know what the bag was. I don't know how long the contract was for.
yeah, because it's not feasible. It's not feasible.
They might now you like you see you got to when you first get a TV deal, you got to cut up maybe a bad deal just to show people that we can put up numbers, and then when that contract is
I
up,
actually look that up when we get off this out. I want to look that up to see if we can find it online. What's the contract details between Bleacher Report and AEW? But that'd be my only issue. But I think Jack Perry being a part of the elite was dope. Like when he came out at the tag match and you saw he was gonna join the elite. I was like, okay, this is a nice little turn because like him lining up with the elite, there's no telling where this storyline is gonna go.
right.
We don't know who they're gonna catapult to go after the AEW championship. Whether it's gonna be Okada, because Okada right now he has a title. So we don't know whether it's gonna be Okada. We don't know whether it's going to be Jack Perry, whether he finally gets an opportunity.
If he's healthy, it's definitely going to be Okada versus Kenny in London.
Side note, prayers for Darby Allin, man. I don't know if you saw what happened with Darby Allin, man. That man got some rough luck, man. So
Something else happened to him besides the broken foot?
he got hit by a bus while crossing the street on a broken foot. Check out his new page, bro. He got his nose broken and everything, bro. He got hit by a bus.
Shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
boy. Yeah, prayers up for you, Darby, man.
Prayers for
Godspeed
Darby,
recovery.
man. Right, his string of luck right now ain't good, man. Glad he's okay, cause that could have been much worse, man. But yeah,
Sheesh.
he put a post up saying he got hit by a bus while crossing the street. It's crazy. So prayers up for him. I just wanted to, while that was on my mind, I just wanted to say that real quick. Um, my issue though was I felt like the whole Tony Khan thing was a reach. I ain't gonna lie. I felt like that was a reach. I didn't feel like that attack had to take place. I think you had enough of a story with Jack Perry, you know what I'm saying, rejoining. And there's other stuff he could have done instead of attack Tony Khan. But I just felt like it was no, when the whole thing happened with Austin and McMahon, like there was a build up for that. Like, and there was a build up without us knowing there was a build up, right? Because we're just paying attention to all the stuff that's going on between Austin and McMahon. And as kids, we never thought, oh shoot, like Austin might actually, because he was pitched as an authority figure. So,
Hmm.
you know, say we never dreamed that Austin would actually stun McMahon, and then it happened. But there was a build up for it, you know what I'm saying? There was no build up for this. You know what I mean? It just happened. That's why I felt, me personally, that's why I didn't like it. That's why I felt like it felt flat.
Okay.
There was no build up for it. There was no anticipation for it. There was like, oh, like I didn't necessarily see this coming, but I should have if I paid attention. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything like that. You know what I mean? And then you aired the footage of CM Punk going after Jack Perry. That had nothing to do with Tony Khan. You know what I'm saying? So CM Punk went after Tony Khan. So I could see if that was like a CM Punk angle and you tied it back to the video, but it just, to me it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Now we'll give it some time because Kenny Omega's coming back Wednesday. We got to see
So
what that
let me
storyline is.
ask you a question, right? You
What's up?
say it doesn't make sense. Do heels have to make sense to us, or will their actions just have to make sense to them?
Depends.
The heels do what they want. The heels' actions only have to make sense to them. Heels are liars. Heels lie. They do things just because, and they'll try to justify it. Their reasoning is flawed to us, but to them it makes all the sense in the world.
Depends, man. There's been plenty of times where people have turned heel, and when they cut a promo, it doesn't make sense. Like I give you a prime example. You know, I love the Bloodline. You know, I love the Bloodline. You know,
No, what I'm saying is it has to make sense for that character why they did that. That's a heel attitude. They don't care what we think. It makes sense in their mind, so therefore they're justified.
it doesn't even make sense for the character. I give you an example. Jimmy, like it's been plenty of times where we've criticized promos as to why somebody has did something. So when Jimmy cost Jay the championship at SummerSlam, right? He came out and he was like, his whole thing was he didn't want Jay to end up like Roman Reigns, you know what I'm saying, and be the type of tribal chief he was and stuff like that. And then Jimmy goes back and rejoins him. That part doesn't make sense. Like had Jimmy just came out and been like, look, like that should have been me in that match instead of you. Like I should be next up. I'm the older brother and stuff like that. That makes sense. But for storyline purposes, it just didn't make sense. And like matter of fact, Gable came out last Monday night and cut a bad promo and gave a terrible explanation that wasn't even believable, then we would side out it. We would question it. And I felt like that's what the whole Jack Perry Tony Khan was. I felt like that was another reach for ratings. And to me, it just fell flat. I felt like AEW already had a lot going on that was good. And I didn't feel like that was needed. The anticipation, I feel like Jack Perry just could have came out, could have promo. You got next week coming. Everybody's gonna be tuned in to the Winnipeg show with Kenny Omega returning home, trying to figure out what's going on with the Elite. I feel like it was a lot going on. I feel like that segment fell flat. That's just me though. There are some people that loved it. I love the Jack Perry move to the Elite though. I do love that, but I just felt like that segment fell flat, man. I didn't like it. Couple more. We're at 40 minutes, so couple more questions I got for you, and then we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say the best one for last. Judgment Day, man. Let's talk about Judgment Day real quick, man. I will say
It
this
was
real quick.
mommy.
Everybody, including me, I love what's going on with the bloodline right now. Um, some people think The Rock is in charge of the bloodline. I don't. I think it's Solo's show. You know what I'm saying? I think this is all ran by Solo. If you go back and watch the previous segments with them, they've been building up to this. Once again, something that we didn't necessarily see coming, but if you go back and fill out the dots, it's something that we should have seen coming with Solo, right? But I ain't gonna say the real story, like we shouldn't pay attention to the bloodline, but we gotta keep up with what's going on with Judgment Day just as much as what's going on with the bloodline right now. And maybe a little bit more. Here's why. Um, you got an angle with Damian Priest
Mhm.
where I don't know if you paid attention to last week's show, but last week's show, Damian Priest didn't join in when Finn Balor and JD Madonna and Dominic Mysterio was jumping Jey Uso. He kind of looked like
Right.
he didn't want it to happen. Then that was a week before last, excuse me. Then last week's show, he had to help Dominic Mysterio and JD Madonna and told them, I don't need you, y'all need me. And was
Hmm.
hot that Jey Uso got kicked him in the face or whatever. Then you have what's going on with Dom. Dom and Liv Morgan, that whole segment backstage and the way they stared each other down, and Liv Morgan going after her revenge story. And she said specifically that she was going to take everything away from Rhea Ripley. And we kind of starting to see what she mean. So my question to you is like, how would you like this to go? You want Judgment Day to stay together? You think it's time for a shakeup? What's your predictions as far as what's about to happen with Judgment Day?
Do we know how long Rhea Ripley's out? Did they say?
Some months at a time for sure. I don't think I think the earliest Rhea comes back is SummerSlam.
All right, so SummerSlam. I don't think Damian Priest is losing the title before them.
Keep in
Before
mind, Dominic Mysterio is hurt now too. Even though
and
he's
Dom
still
is
being
hurt
featured
too,
on
right?
Raw, he
So
they said that he legit has a. I don't think he's gonna be out for a long period of time, but he has a legit injury right now.
I don't think they're gonna. The split is eventually coming. I just don't think it's gonna happen soon. Like it might happen by the time SummerSlam gets here.
Mm, mm.
I don't think it's gonna happen soon. By SummerSlam, probably when Rhea comes back, that's about the time that you see the official split, or when Damian loses his title.
I do think I see a scenario where there still is a Judgment Day, just different members.
Just different members.
I think they are gonna turn on Priest sooner than later.
Okay.
And I think Finn is eventually because Finn is somebody that Triple H loves anyway, and it's time. I think it's time to for especially in Triple H's mind. I'm just thinking about Triple H. It's time to get Finn back on track. Finn is not a mid card wrestler. He's not a mid carder at all. He's one of the best wrestlers in WWE right now. When we mentioned the whole best wrestlers in WWE in ring ability, Finn Balor has to be at the top of that list.
Really?
So I think it's time to get him back to that. And the only way you get him back to that is Finn has to become the leader of the Judgment Day. And it can still be JD McDonough. Whether Dom's still there or not, who knows? Because if Finn is the clear leader, I don't think Rhea is there no more. I think two people are destined for a face turn in Judgment Day, and that's Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's so over, like they don't even boo her no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she's destined for a face turn, and she doesn't need Judgment Day anymore. When she originally joined Judgment Day, it was sorely needed because Rhea Ripley was a dope wrestler that was missing a dope character. She
Hmm.
has that now. She doesn't need Judgment Day anymore. So I think you could separate her by creating. That's how you do it. You have the whole Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio angle where he actually slips up and of course like hypothetically cheats on her and that forces a split maybe. So there's ways you can do it, but I think a split is coming. They might even add some members, some different members, some names to keep an eye out for. You know what I mean? I see there's a few people Who knows? Liv Morgan might end up being a part of Judgment Day. That might be an angle too, where she might, as an effort to take everything away,
Takes Rhea's spot.
she might take Rhea's spot in Judgment Day, take her family away from her, take her man away from her, and take her belt away from her. You know what I'm saying? That might be a way to do it. So it's, but I've done a lot of talking. What you think?
I agree with you, but it's kind of hard. If one thing I could give Triple H credit for right now in the Triple H areas, things aren't predictable.
Right.
What like they're not predictable, so storylines can go in any which way,
Any
and
which
I'm
way.
cool with that. I love to be surprised. Like I don't know, like that we saw that coming. I love
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen. When I like what you're saying about Liv taking everything away from Rhea Ripley. That is cool,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a nice little twist to it. I don't think there's going to be another iteration of Judgment Day. I feel once they split, like that's it, and people gonna have to find some things to do.
Okay.
Like turn on Priest, I do feel is coming because they say, "Oh, you got too big, you forgot who your family is." So I can see that part coming.
Mm.
The Liv Morgan entering it, I don't think so because that's going to keep people around, and Liv is going to need help from people because the Rhea will always have help if that's the case. Like she'll always have the backup of the Judgment Day, and I feel they're going to try to save that for a one-on-one, not just a complete breakup and Dom and Liv stay together.
Mm.
I see that, but
Okay.
just Liv entering the Judgment Day and kicking out people and entering new people. No, I don't see that happening.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 All right. So we're gonna do two more things real quick, and then we out of here.
Yeah.
We're gonna, if you cool with it, brother, I want to debut a quick segment real quick with you.
Oh, I was gonna debut something too, but it's all right.
What
Yeah.
you about to do, brother?
No, we'll say no. It's just a this or that type segment, but we cool.
Hi.
Yeah.
So we gonna call this. We gonna call it. We in the fast lane right now. We gonna call this quick thoughts. All right.
All right. Cool.
I'm gonna throw a couple, not a lot, but I'm gonna throw a couple of topics at you real quick. I'm gonna get your quick thoughts on it. All right.
Okay, all right.
All
That boy been working while I've been out.
right.
That boy been in this book of rhymes.
First thing, I saw a tweet the other day and an Instagram post that said Dean, not Dean. Well, it said Dean Ambrose in the post, but we're gonna call him John Moxley. Said John Moxley is actually the best pure wrestler out of the Shield. What you think?
Disagree. Set.
I think Seth too. I get John has an argument though. What John's running AEW and now New Japan Wrestling, he has an argument.
Yeah,
But
Seth.
I'm going Seth too. I'm going Seth too. The women need a IC title or United States title now that the women's roster is so stacked. What you think?
Agreed.
I agree 100%. I've been saying that for years, and I seen a post about that. I think that's a great way to get everybody involved in the women's division. So yeah, um, Daniel Brian. I keep saying Daniel Bryan. Brian Danielson versus Will Ospreay, AEW Dynasty. Give me your quick thoughts about that match.
This is awesome.
um, you know what Dave Metzler gave that match?
He gave it like 14 stars, right?
6.5. 6.5 stars. Incredible match, man. When I watched that match, I said if this ain't a 5-star match, because a couple matches I thought should have got 5 stars, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but didn't. I said when I watched that match, I said if this ain't 5 stars, and I don't know what a 5-star match is.
So the reason how I know it was a good match, and are you not too keen on it? Me and Willie talk about it all the time. Jim Cornette gave the match praise
Oh yeah, he hates AEW.
with a passion.
That match was
He
incredible, man.
he gave that match praise. So that's how I know it was a good match.
That match was incredible, man. That's a
Yeah,
match was
that was a
incredible.
dope match.
So yeah, that's it. Just a couple quick thoughts, real quick. What did you want to do, brother?
All right. So you know me and my randomness, this is that segment. But today is gonna be kind of a question, all right?
What's up?
All right. So somebody just comes to you and say, "Hey, I'm feeling generous, Steve. You can get one official title belt off of WWE.com. What belt are you getting?" You only pick one.
Ooh. Ooh. Um, that's a good question. You know what though? I'm stuck between two, and I'm gonna make a decision. I'm not gonna be the typical black person that give multiple options, but
Yeah, only one belt, dog.
I'll tell you
Only
the two I'm debating right now off top. Um, the Eagle WWE title and the big gold belt. And I'm gonna go with just for presentation wise, like walking around with that. If I had to, yeah, just walking around with it, you know what I'm saying? Presentation wise, I'm gonna go with the big gold belt. I'm gonna go with the big gold WCW belt. I think personally, I think that just might be the greatest title of all time. Now I will say this: people sleep
hey
on the
gang,
one they got
hold
right
tight,
now.
man, hold tight, dog. You know how I know we brothers?
What, you got the same one?
But
I thought you was gonna say the white IC title belt.
that was close. But when I thought about it, I want the big gold belt, but mine's got to have the NWO on it.
Yeah, the big gold belt, man. Now, if we
I
talking
want,
about
I want,
framing
I want
one,
the
if
NWO
we
spray
talking about
paint big
one,
gold belt.
yeah, we talking about one that I'm putting in a trophy case and is never gonna be touched, then I'm gonna go with the eagle joint. But
But
I
yeah, but the white IC strap is definitely second. Yeah, definitely, without doubt. But that big gold NWO belt,
the big
yeah,
gold belt is, I think that's the
that's
greatest
what
title
I'm
of all
going
time.
for.
People sleep on the one they got now though. The one they have now is fire. People sleep on that, and I appreciate it because it got got rid of the spinner belt. But which is that might be the second worst title of all time. The worst titles of all time, without a shadow of a doubt, is the most recent tag titles. Them blue and red joints that look like they got them from Spartacus. Them joints horrible, dog.
Right, it's still the spinning belts.
You think spinner belts worse than that? I'm going. I hated those tag titles, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the big gold belt, man. Just walking around with that presentation wise, stuff like that. You know, you want to know what the most underrated belt is, though, in my opinion? The first NXT title, heavyweight title,
Yeah, yeah.
the one that dude let us hold in Orlando. That was fire too. All right, so last thing we're gonna talk about, and then we're gonna get up out of here. So I saw a video recently, man. I mean, I had some thoughts that I wanted to say for our main event of the evening, and we gonna hash this out now because me and you differ. So, the video I saw, it's a video from you. It just hasn't been published yet. The world doesn't know, and they about to find out what it is right now. So, I was working on some stuff, and I said, let me watch one of these videos that Shaq sent me, and the video I opened was your video saying what the best mania was and what the worst mania was. All right. Now, worst mania, we don't even have to spend no time on that. Me and you both agree by far WrestleMania 9 is the worst one of all time. By far. Um, it's best mania. So what I did, I said, you know what? Before we do this episode, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch WrestleMania 17 in its entirety. For those of you who don't know, and I think a lot of people out there agree that WrestleMania 17 is Shaq's greatest WrestleMania ever. Before this year was mine. I said, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania 17 again, right? Because I feel like I'm not off about WrestleMania 40. Like I feel like WrestleMania 40 is not an overreaction. It's not a hot take. It's not me being in the moment. But I wanted to make sure. So I watched it with an open mind. And I was reminded of how great WrestleMania 17 is. It's a
Right.
phenomenal top 3 mania of all time.
But
But it's not better than 40. It's not. And I want to hear you say real quick why you have for the people out there, right? Why do you have WrestleMania 17 as why did we? Because it's not like I'm not saying it like as if before this year I didn't have it as number 1 too. I had it number 1 before this year as well. I had it number 1 and I had WrestleMania 39 too. Why did you have it as the greatest WrestleMania of all time?
so you put me on the spot, right? All right. So First of all, WrestleMania X7 or 17 is the greatest Mania of all time because of that was really like the height of wrestling back then. Wrestling was up here, and the match card they had was very dope. I don't want to say top to bottom because, of course, there were some misses on there with the women's championship match, and then the
Every mania has misses,
gimmick
so
battle
we not gonna
royal,
hold that against them.
right? But when they was on, they was on. We have the match that defined a whole generation. The ladder match
Mm-hmm.
was Benoit, Benoit versus Kurt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Benoit versus Kurt was dope. The hardcore match was great.
Mm-hmm.
The Shane versus Vince street fight was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Triple H versus The Undertaker was a classic. So stop me when I'm lying.
Nah, I'm just glad to hear you say that, but yeah, I agree.
I said it was a classic. I said it
No,
wasn't
you
better than
didn't. When years passed, when I used to say that was a classic match, you used to be like, "Nah, I won't." You never gave that
I
match
just want to
classic
say it
title.
wasn't better than the Hell in because the Hell in a Cell match was a classic.
Nah, you. I used to always include wrestling when we used to debate Shawn Michaels WrestleMania classes versus Undertaker's, and I used to say 17 was a classic. There was a few matches that I said was a classic of Undertaker's that you never gave credit for. I used to say the one with Batista at WrestleMania 23 and
That's not a
WrestleMania
classic.
17. I said all three Triple H matches were classics, and you said nah, the one at 17 wasn't a classic. So I'm just glad to hear you say that. But go ahead.
Are you sure? Well, I'll take your word for it. Then, of course, the main event with Rock Austin.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my bad.
Storyline purpose, everything from storyline purposes
Mm-hmm.
to match quality, big fight feel, and this was back still when they weren't even doing arenas yet.
Yeah.
So like yeah, that's why it's my vote.
All right, so you have some people that's gonna watch this, like our brother Willie, who's gonna say that it's unfair to compare the two because WrestleMania 40 is now 2 nights. Well, if that's the case, then we got WrestleMania is gonna be 2 nights from now into the foreseeable future. So I think WrestleMania 36 was the first one that was 2 nights. That was the pandemic one,
COVID year here,
and
COVID
then
yeah.
37 was 2 nights. 38 was 2 nights, 39, 40. So if we do that, then when we do these rankings, and hopefully me and you next year can sit down, compile a list, and on the road to WrestleMania next year, hopefully we can do our ranking of top 40 manias. But um, if that's the case, then you gotta divide the list now because
Okay.
WrestleMania is gonna be 2 nights from here on out. So another thing I looked at was how many matches was on each. So WrestleMania 40 had 12 or 13 matches. No, it had 13 matches. WrestleMania 17 had 12. So they're not off as far as matches are concerned, right? Number of matches, right? So WrestleMania 17 to me, like everything you said, the
17 had
quality,
11 matches.
yeah, the quality of matches, it was fun matches in there, the hardcore match and stuff like that. I'm not gonna discount them for the Legends match because that was the best. You in a Mania that's one night, you gotta have a bathroom break match. You gotta have a match like that. Just like the Mania we went to, the bathroom break match was John Cena and Brie was it what's Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice. So you gotta
Yeah.
in the main in a card that's that long, you gotta have a bathroom break match. So I'm not even gonna fault that, right? I'm just specifically looking at moments, quality of matches, storylines, right? WrestleMania 40, arguably, and I said this, and boys call me crazy. I say you arguably got 7 matches, right? That can be considered match of the weekend, right? So you got 7 matches that's top tier. That's already more than WrestleMania 17 had, right?
Okay.
You had storylines that not only continue, but moments like great moments were created, right? The biggest, and I put it to you like this: the biggest moment at WrestleMania 17 is not even better than probably the second biggest moment at WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 7, what was the biggest moment at WrestleMania 17?
The spear off the ladder.
You think that was a bigger moment than Damian Priest cashing in?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
The spear off the ladder. Yes.
I would definitely want better than Cody winning. So,
Okay, no, I'll give you the spear off the ladder.
I don't know if based on how Dame did it, I don't know, dog. I mean, but that's debatable. All right, that's debatable. That can be a push. That's debatable. Um, the moments and like when you think about 17, you think about Austin turning heel. Think about the spear off the ladder. You think about the Swanton bomb. You think about
The coast to coast with
coast
Shane.
coast to coast by Shane and stuff like that. Think about WrestleMania 40. You think about R-Truth finally getting his moment. You think about Drew finally getting his moment. You think about Damian Priest cashing in. You think about Cody winning. You think about, you know what I'm saying, the whole tag match between the Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. You think about the moments that happened in the main event of WrestleMania. It's a lot of big time moments that happened in WrestleMania 40, right? And then we get to the quality of matches. So I'm gonna say this real quick because we like to go off of, you know what I'm saying, Dave Metzler, and rightfully so. Dave Metzler has more than earned his spot as far as what he does in wrestling and the way he rate matches. We may not always agree, but he's certified. I mean, there's no dispute on that, right? I'm gonna give you
Who you ask?
I'm gonna give you some ratings. Give you some ratings for these matches, man. So you remember what he gave the triple threat match, the TLC match, the emphasis match? You remember what rating he gave that?
We'll give that a 5.
He gave it a 4.75.
Okay.
All right. I don't necessarily agree, but we're just gonna throw this out there. Triple H versus Undertaker, he gave that 3.5 stars. You know what match he gave also 3.5 stars?
Probably the main event.
Mm-mm. He gave
What?
he gave Seth versus Drew 3.5 stars as well. Just throwing that out there. All right. Then we got Benoit versus Kurt Angle. He gave that 4.25 stars, right? We have Vince versus Shane. He gave that 3 stars. And then the main event, Stone Cold versus The Rock. He gave that 4.5 stars. All right. Go to WrestleMania 40 real quick. WrestleMania 40. So I'm gonna give you some matches. Sammy versus Gunther. He gave 4.5 stars. Rhea versus Becky. He gave 4.25 stars. Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. He gave it 4 stars. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus KO. 4.25 stars. EO versus Bayley. 4.5 stars. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. 3.5 stars. Drew versus Seth. 3.5 stars. And then you got where is it? I'm missing. I know for a fact he gave Roman versus Cody. I know for a fact he gave that 4.5. I know that for a fact. So you have it's only 2 matches, no 3, in the entirety of WrestleMania 17 that he even gave over 4 stars to.
Okay.
Whereas WrestleMania 40, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches that he gave over 4 stars to. All right. I'm going to throw another punchline out there. And this is why I've been debating WrestleMania 39, right? So let's take the 3 best matches, right, and put them against WrestleMania 39. Rhea versus Charlotte, he gave 4.75. I personally, that's the one I'm like, you robbed them. That was a 5-star match. But whatever. 4.75. There's only 2 matches out of all 3. If we compare 17 to 39 to 40, there's only 2 matches out of the entire 3 of those cards that he gave 5 stars to. Both of those matches are from WrestleMania 39. He gave Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew 5 stars, and he gave Sammy and KO versus the Usos 5 stars, right? So, all right. So, without saying my opinion, I'm just throwing that out there for right now. What do you think? Do you feel like WrestleMania 40 has a stronger case?
It has a stronger case. It's still not better.
How?
All right, so like it's sort of like comparing when we try to compare basketball players. Like, well, this person was bad. We got to go with eras, and then we have to go with how they did things back then to how they do things now. Like, it's kind of like great product is great product, but as far as production, as far as stadiums, as far as storylines, as far as how they did things is different. So like you can't compare basketball players from eras because things are always different. But if you say somebody say like I know your answer, you're gonna say it's 40, and that's cool, right? That's cool. I'm gonna say 17 because of where I was at in life, the nostalgia purposes, how it made me feel, the things I remember. Like I'll tell you, I still remember 17 more vividly than I can remember 40, just because those are core memories for me.
I get it. So, all right. So you said it for nostalgia purposes. You're going with 17, right? I can't agree nostalgia wise. I said 17 just off of me not being biased and just being observant. If I was biased, I would have went with 19. Cause for a while I used to think 19 was better, and then I rewatched 17, rewatched 19. And I was like, you know what, 17 is actually better. I don't know if you remember me coming up to you and being like, yeah, 7. Now you right, 17 is better. So that's me not being biased because what you said about 17 is how I feel about 19. I remember 19 vividly, man. I remember the Booker T versus Triple H match. I
One of the
remember
greatest travesties in wrestling history.
Booker T should have won, man.
Stay tuned. I got a video about that coming too. Stay tuned about that, folks.
The Brock versus Kurt Angle match. Shawn Michaels' first WrestleMania back. That's a classic match that don't get talked about enough. Him and
Well,
Jericho.
his name is Mr. WrestleMania for a reason.
There were so many moments in the Rock versus the best match of the three between Rock and Stone Cold. So I remember that one more vividly than I remember. I mean, of course, I remember 17, but that one, nostalgia wise, I remember where I was at. I remember watching that live. I loved that WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? But 40, man, 40, I just don't see how outside of nostalgia, I just don't see how like if we measuring the quality of matches, if we measuring the moments, if we measuring the importance. This WrestleMania was an extremely important mania for
I
WWE.
agree.
It
I
was extremely
1000%.
important because you're advertising it as the biggest WrestleMania of all time. And what do they always do, right? When they advertise something's gonna be the biggest of all time, like they did with Roman versus Brock at WrestleMania 38. Oh, this is the biggest main event of all time. Oh, we got Edge versus Randy Orton. This is the greatest WrestleMania. I mean, the greatest match ever. Whenever they do stuff like that, it's always a letdown. And so for them to advertise it this way and it to be dawning in a new era, all right, so we've been hollering for Triple H to take over. Now it's his time. What is actually going to happen, right? And even after night one, we had questions, right? Even though I gave it a B, you gave it a C, I think, or a C plus. I can't remember exactly.
Mhm.
But we had questions after night one, and then night two delivered. So that's the one knock I would say about WrestleMania 40. Both nights won't equal. So that's what I thought you was gonna say. That's what the argument was because night two took it to another stratosphere.
Agreed.
Night two was like night two was crazy. If night two was a WrestleMania by itself, it's undisputed. But you know what I'm saying? It's almost like you got a double disc, right? It's almost like what I say about Blueprint 2. I think Blueprint 2 had a chance to be one of Jay-Z's best albums if he just
Mhm.
took the best off of both discs and just lined them up like that instead of it being a double disc. Whereas WrestleMania 40 is a little the same way. But I just look at the quality of matches, man. I think WrestleMania 39 has an argument to be better than 17. Like, if you ask me today what my ranking would be, it honestly would be 41, 39, 2, and then 17, 3. And then to be honest with you, a large part of it is that it's the turn at the end. The ending of WrestleMania 17, man.
That throws it off a lot.
It
I
throws it
agree.
off. It throws it off a lot, man. If it wasn't for that, I might still I don't know. It would be tough. It would be one of those days where hey, I might wake up tomorrow and say 17, but when I rewatched it, I couldn't even I was like, yo, why did this happen, man? Like it don't make sense, you know what I'm
Don't make
saying?
sense, right?
So That's me, man. I feel like when you line those up, and I wanted to throw those star matches out there, so it won't be like a situation where I'm just going off for heart. Like I
No, never that.
watching those matches, man. Watching 40, even on night one, there was some good matches, man. And to my surprise, the one thing I didn't bring up about the star of the matches, you know, he gave and this is one matter of fact, it was seven. I'm sorry, I said six matches over 4 stars. There's seven. You know what the other match was? He gave 4 stars. He gave the 6-man tag match 4.5 stars. That's the same rating he gave the TLC match.
Dave tripping with that.
I'm just he gave it the same rating. He
Yeah,
gave it four and a
Dave
half.
tripping with that one.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised myself. I'm not in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Am I saying that 6-man tag was better than the TLC match? I'm just saying like he gave over 7 matches 4.5, 4/4 stars. I don't think that's ever happened with any Mania before. So 40, for everybody out there who still say 17, right? If you saying 17, it got to be some type of nostalgia to it, and even some bias to it, and that's fine. In wrestling, we love it. We love it so much. Because we're passionate about it. So some
Right.
sort of bias to it, that's fine. That's fine. This is not football. You know what I'm saying? Like this is wrestling, man. Something we passionate about. So you got some type of biasness to it. That's fine. But don't flat out when y'all watch this video. I'm not gonna come for you if you say, hey, I can understand. But you know what I'm saying? I'm going with 17. We good. You know what I'm saying? It's debatable. You know what I mean? But if you say it ain't no shot or you smoking crack, I'm gonna come for you. Pause, but I'm gonna come for your neck. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna have a real live debate on Instagram, wherever. You know what I'm saying? We do this. Shaq could do it. I do it. So we do this. So we can have a debate whenever.
I feel I'm pretty knowledgeable to do
it. So yeah, man. Well, we've been talking long enough, man. So we're gonna go ahead on out. Anything you want to close with? Any final thoughts, bro?
Nah, man, we good to all the people that still watch wrestling out there, man. Go ahead, keep your head held high, man. We all right, brother. Just keep on watching, keep on loving it. Forget what people say. Aren't we too old? Well, aren't we too old to watch X-Men '97? But nobody got a problem with that.
Nobody got a problem with that, man. We in the golden era of wrestling, and as much people that talk trash, it's a lot of people coming back to wrestling, man. And we the perfect people to usher y'all into this new era, man. So
We'll
y'all
welcome y'all right back, man. We'll even catch y'all up. I've been catching people up. People, yo, so what's this about? All right, so you got a minute because it's gonna take a while for me to try to explain and tie it all together. But
men and women, because for those of you
man,
who
we salute together.
right, for men and women, because for those women who ain't tuned into wrestling in a while, and ain't no more bra and panty matches, and ain't no more evening gown matches, and ain't no more pillow fights, none of that.
These girls,
these women are wrestling. These women are wrestling, and in some ways, they're putting on better matches than the men.
Amen to that.
And some of the women have equal star power as some of the men. So this is the best time, and we have black women that are superstars in wrestling. So this is some of the best time for you to actually get back into wrestling, support wrestling. We have women from all races. Matter of fact, I forget. I think she's Latina. Roxanne Perez, who's doing her thing as an NXT champ. The previous champ, I forgot what her nationality was. We got UK champions as in Gunther. So there's all types of nationalities being represented. But for people who are black like us, you got a black champion in AEW now. You got a women's champion in Ring of Honor, Athena, who's held the title for almost, if not, I think a little over 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bianca Belair, Jade, Naomi in WWE.
Bailey's Mexican. So
Bailey's Mexican. You got Mercedes Moné in AEW, who's black. So
you have Damian Priest, who's Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Damian Priest is Puerto Rican. He's a champ, man. It's room for everybody, man. So like I said, it's no better time than now. We the perfect people to usher y'all in, man. So for all my people who still watch wrestling, man, we hope y'all have a great week. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Comment, man. We love to talk. We love to debate.
Yeah,
man.
we love the interaction, man. Please.
We love to engage, man. So comment, talk to us, debate with us, man. Let's talk about this thing called wrestling. Unfortunately, we won't be live for Backlash this weekend. It's my wife's birthday. Family always comes first. So we're gonna celebrate my wife's birthday. But we're gonna do a recap. We'll do a Backlash recap episode and then get ready for the next AEW pay-per-view. So y'all stay blessed, man, and have a great week. All right.
All right, y'all. Peace out. Love y'all.